Alright guys, so last video we covered the Chibi Reviews situation. If you didn't watch that video, basically the rundown is Chibi Reviews is an infamous anime YouTuber who came to the internet a couple days ago announcing that not only did his fiance and his best friend have an affair behind his back.
On the 11th of February, I discover my fiance cheating on me with my best friend of 10 years.
But not only did he discover this affair, when he went to vent to his friend group about it, they basically said, well, we don't really care about it because we like gaming with your best friend more.
I did what anyone probably would reasonably do. I wanted to confide in someone. Not really. I go to my gaming friend group that I've known just as long as my best friend that my fiance cheated with. I talk with them, and they straight up, they admit to me they don't care, basically, what my used-to-be best friend did. They prefer gaming with him, and I thought these guys were my friends. I did. And they, more or less, they just cared about gaming with him, and they didn't care about everything. They're completely okay with everything.
Truly sickening experience if I've ever heard of one. Like, it honestly sounds like some type of messed up movie plot. And under normal circumstances, you would think that Chibi would be receiving a lot of sympathy, as people tend to have for people who are in very messed up situations. But like I discussed in the last video, it was actually the complete opposite, as many people ran to the internet to celebrate that this happened to Chibi. Because like I showed in my last video, Chibi has a very colorful history on the internet.
I just lost my fiance, my best friend, and my entire friend group in 24 hours. I have never been more alone than right now. I saw this tweet. I see a bunch of people retweeting this, and I've never seen the way that people are jumping this dude. And they're talking about, bro, like he did some devious shit. Yeah. I was feeling really bad for dude when I first saw the tweet, because I'm not kidding you. My feed was a bunch of retweets of this post, just ragging him and just dragging him through shit. I'm like, bro, what did he do? Yeah, I go through the page. That is fun. Well, it's actually fiction. It's not real. No, this shit is fucking weird.
Because Chibi Reviews is an advocate for LOLI, incest, and a lot of other things that people would typically consider weird, whether it's in fiction or not, yeah, a lot of people didn't actually have sympathy for this guy, which has led to a many, and I mean many, of memes about this guy over the last couple days. But even with him being the butt of many jokes, Chibi would still go on to upload this update video on his YouTube channel a couple days ago.
I am still here, and I have read everybody's comments. I have seen what you have said, and I plan to respond to as many as I possibly can in the upcoming days. But for now, I'm just going to take a little bit of a break for a few days, and I will be back. Get back up on that horse, and I will start making content once again.
And look, I don't think it's a secret, I'm not a Chibi Reviews fan. You'll never catch me checking out a Chibi Reviews video, and I strongly disagree with how this guy conducts his life, especially online. But if I were to give him any healthy advice, you know, just human to human, I would say, you know, taking a break is positive. I think this guy, you know, has been through a traumatic experience, whether you like him or not. You know, finding out that your fiance and your best friend of 10 years having an affair, that is traumatic. Losing an entire friend group, that is traumatic. If I were him, I'd probably stay away from the internet for a while, you know, go to the gym, work on myself, and really reflect on, hey, why are the people all around me? Why did they all do me dirty? What did I do in my life to make all these people turn on me? Because a common thing I've noticed as I've gotten older, and, you know, the more I've talked to different types of people, is that when people get done dirty, they tend to harp on, oh, these people did me dirty, they did this to me, but we never really stop and ask ourselves, well, what did we do to contribute to this? What type of person were we to where these people felt comfortable doing this to us? Not saying that there aren't just bad people out there who do bad things to good people, but a lot of times you will notice that people feel more comfortable treating certain type of people bad than others. And a common sentiment I've seen online about Chibi's situation is the people who actually know about his history and the things he's preached about and the things he's posted about online, they're not really surprised that this happened to him, that his friend group would switch up on him, or that his girlfriend would cheat on him. So maybe a break, like Chibi said, and some reflection would do him some good. Unfortunately though, he didn't really do that, because it only took 3 days for Chibi to come back with a new video, and I swear to God you'll never guess what it's about. So someone would basically upload a tweet saying that MangaDex, the popular website that allows people to upload manga and manhwa, would be removing titles that depict sexual activities between underage characters, and citing that the law is the reason why. Now I saw this post 2 days ago when it came out, and it was something that I just scrolled past. You know, I looked at it and I was like, okay, cool, W for them. I don't really understand why this was ever something that was allowed on their platform, but you know, it's good that they are taking it off their platform no matter what the reason is. I just moved on with my day. I didn't really think too much about it. Well, Chibi Reviews would actually quote this tweet, and I swear to God, you can't make this up. He would go on to say, pirating sites' entire catalog is manga they don't own. They virtue signal the law even though their sites break the law. Today I will be talking about this. Have a blessed day. Bro, you can't make this up. I swear to God. The comments are frying me, dude. One person said, despite everything, his crew gone, his maiden robbed, he still yaps about being a pedo. I swear, bro, I swear. Your ex-fiance and ex-best friend are like this right now while you're complaining about not being able to see naked kids. The love of your life is getting double pumped by your hobby as we speak. Oh my God, that's brutal. I've seen a couple comments of people saying like, I don't understand why people have lost all compassion. Like, no matter what this guy's done, how could you not have compassion for him? It's very hard to have compassion for this guy. Like, it's actually very hard to have any sympathy. A very common thing you will see across the board with most people, with most adults, is that they don't really rock with people attracted to kids. Even if you want to say like, oh, it's fictional and all that, like, cool, you could say all that. Even to any normal person in the normal world that you describe LOLI to, they're gonna look at you like you're weird. I'm just being honest with you, bro. Any normal person you just walk to, any random person you see in the grocery store, most people are not gonna rock with that, and they're gonna think you're weird. So they do not have sympathy for people who are into things like LOLI, who are into, you know, things that are kid adjacent. Like, they're just not supportive of people like that. I mean, just look at that streamer Lakari. When he exposed himself not too long ago, he had crazy stuff on his notepad. Like, I actually went and looked up the uncensored version to see what he was actually saving on there, and he had stuff about animals, he had stuff about family, but the thing that everybody harped on the most is the LOLI stuff, the kid adjacent stuff. And if you advocate for things like that, especially the way Chibi does, it's a good chance that most people aren't gonna like you and they won't have sympathy for you. But I actually went and looked up his newest video because I was like, there's no way this guy was actually mad that they're taking kid content off MangaDex, and I just want to watch some of it with you because I think it's actually pretty interesting.
And I have been very transparent about my stances on this, and regardless of anything that's happened in the last few days, I'm not going to be scared off from my stances. In a discussion, I won't bend the knee on that. I think that fiction is fiction, it's not real, and if you think a drawing is real, you're a schizo. I think that you're probably mentally unwell, and I think that you probably need to get checked out.
I've never actually heard anyone use the argument that these characters are real kids, or, you know, they've tried to frame it that way, but I guess there could be some people who do that. I would argue though, and I think this is most people's argument when it comes to LOLI or like the inappropriate depiction of fictional kids, is that it's kind of reinforcement theory, which is basically the idea that through repetition you can create conditioning. If someone is repeatedly pairing sexual arousal with childlike imagery, that pairing can strengthen, whether it's fictional or not. It's kind of like why they tell young boys that you shouldn't pleasure yourself all the time to adult videos, because if you're consuming that type of content in large amounts, it is possible for you to condition your brain to be attracted to the women that you see on the screen, and make it hard for you to be able to perform when you're in front of a real girl, even though you could be very attracted to the real girl, but your brain has become so conditioned to the adult material that you're unable to perform. Also, another aspect of reinforcement theory is that you can train your brain to be attracted to things that you normally wouldn't be attracted to. A good example of this is Judy Hopps from Zootopia or that one fox from the Bad Guy movies. Ever since these movies came out, I've seen so many people make videos being like, oh my god, I think I might be a furry. Why do I find these two attractive? Like, why do I find these characters attractive? And like, the thing is, like, you're not a furry. Like, you're not attracted to these characters because you're attracted to a rabbit or you're attracted to a fox. It's the traits that they put into the character designs that make you find the characters attractive scientifically. Giving them large eyes, making them symmetrical, giving them a small waist with hips, you know, giving them certain types of posture. These are all things to be proven scientifically to make men attracted to women. You don't find a rabbit attractive because a rabbit doesn't have these traits. These are all traits that come from women that men find attractive in women, and they've placed these traits onto this fictional character to make them attractive. Bringing it back to LOLI, we've already went over how through repetition you can cause your brain to be attracted to things that you normally wouldn't be attracted to, and LOLI strips away all the traits that men find attractive in adult women to make the characters childlike. So I would find it concerning if I found anyone who was consuming LOLI content, because it is quite literally possible for you to condition your brain to be attracted to childlike qualities. Does that mean you will actually go out and commit a crime against a child? No, but it does mean that you can become more attracted to a child. And if I was running some type of land, some type of country, of course I would want to make this stuff illegal. I would want to ban it, because why would I want grown adults to become more attracted to traits that you find in children? Also, I do find it kind of funny how Chibi's like, anyone who thinks these kids are real or anything like that, they're schizo and they're mentally unwell. I would also say, you know, recording yourself crying in front of the internet, I would say that's a pretty mentally unwell thing to do. That's not a normal thing that normal people do.
This admin joined them back in 2024, so this is a very recent addition to their platform, literally post-COVID era. And they're obviously doing the traditional virtue signaling, drawings are real, all sorts of stuff, and honestly I feel undermining actual victims in real life.
This is such a weird stance to take, because you can simultaneously care about real life victims while also acknowledging that LOLI is pretty weird. Like, yes, objectively real life kids are more important than, like, you know, these depictions of fictional characters, but at the same time, why is he making it seem like you can't care about both? That, oh, if you're choosing to censor this, then you're not actually focusing on the real issue at hand. Because I can make the same dumb argument that because Chibi spends all his time defending LOLI and he doesn't speak out against real life victims of kids, he doesn't, you know, make consistent content about, you know, child victims, that he doesn't actually care about these kids. You see how both arguments are stupid?
Clearly some compromised staff that obviously is, just gonna say, they're a tourist. They're individuals that want to bend and change Japanese culture.
I always found it weird when these type of guys go on to say, oh, they're trying to change Japanese culture. Like, okay, let's even argue that that's true, right? Let's say they're trying to change Japanese culture. You're not Japanese. As far as I'm aware, Chibi Reviews is a white American. I could maybe understand if I saw like actual Japanese people getting on here complaining about this, saying, oh, you're taking away our culture, you're taking away our culture of LOLI, which, you know, I would still think it's weird, but I could maybe understand like the logic in those people complaining about it. But you're not Japanese. This is not your culture. Your culture actually frowns upon this. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe he's not American, but as far as I know, this guy is American, and in American culture, LOLI is not socially acceptable. Majority of people from your culture are against this and do not support it. So it always amazes me when you got these guys who want to use the culture card whole time. Your culture does not support this, and there are many different types of cultures out in the world that people do not get behind. So you want to use the culture card is crazy. And even on top of that, they're not changing Japanese culture. They're not telling these people that, oh, they can't put these inappropriate acts of kids in their stories. They're just saying you can't put it on our platform, which literally every private owned platform has the ability to say what can come on their platform or not. I mean, Steam, one of the largest video game buying platforms in the world, they literally have one golden rule that they have said multiple times, that any game that contains any inappropriate depictions of kids is automatically disqualified from being sold on their platform.
But also, they want to remove anything icky content within fictional content because it upsets them. For instance, a person like this wouldn't get upset with Game of Thrones, despite it obviously having very questionable content. If you're wanting to question stuff like this, Game of Thrones has messed up stuff, really does. And most of the people don't read the books or probably even watch the show, or they just let it slide because it's Game of Thrones and it's, I guess accepted by a lot of people within the West, besides obviously the final season.
It's so odd that he used Game of Thrones as an example and also mentioned the books, because anyone who read the books and also watched the TV show will tell you that many things from the books were actually censored in the TV show. I mean, one of the reasons why majority of the cast are heavily aged up compared to their book counterparts is because they didn't want to show kids doing crazy things. They didn't want to have child actors and putting child actors in inappropriate situations. And also, why is he acting like Game of Thrones is just this perfect piece of art that nobody criticizes? Because yes, it is regarded as one of the greatest TV shows of all time, but there have been many different controversies when it came to how Game of Thrones conducted itself, especially when it came to the sexual content in the show. People were very mad when they threw in a random essay scene in season 5. I mean, even the adult actors like Emilia Clarke went on to say that they felt very uncomfortable doing a lot of the sexual scenes in season 1, and once they actually got some power, they were like, yo, I'm not doing all of these scenes anymore. This is just another example of this guy trying to justify his creepy fetish, and using Game of Thrones as an example is crazy. But this is honestly all I really wanted to show. He just kind of rants on for another 7 minutes about the same things. None of it is actually that important. And honestly, I don't really see this guy's life getting any better. Guys like Chibi never really change. He's willing to die on this weird creepy hill, and honestly, you just gotta let him. But let me know in the comments, how do you feel about Chibi Reviews? Do you have sympathy for him? Do you not? Or once again, do you just not care, and is this just your daily unemployment news? I appreciate y'all checking out another one, and until then, it's been your boy Corin, and I'm off this.